This is just an excerpt from a full episode. If you enjoyed what you hear here, go check out other full episodes, either on YouTube or as part of the podcast feed. Enjoy! Moving on, lockdown news now. The Prime Minister has told states to get some perspective over keeping borders closed right before the pandemic jumps states. Looks like there's a lockdown in Victoria, but savvy Victorians will be able to get around this council-specific lockdown by changing addresses. And no, not physically moving house. Such a thing would be costly and reckless during a pandemic. No. They are just telling Vic Roads that they live somewhere else, so that they can still move around in the pandemic and maximise both their chance to get infected and to infect others, as is their right as taxpayers. I mean, what's a little fraud between suburbs, really? Come on. Oh no, looks like lockdown is expanding as the entirety of Melbourne and Mitchell Shire has been put into lockdown, or being grounded and sent to our rooms permanently with full access to our toys and various streaming devices. Fortunately, it is the golden age of television, and I know that you didn't get round to watching The Wire last lockdown, so now's your chance. Though those address changes are going to have to try a little harder to get a valid license to move about now. Look, maybe they should try getting a New Zealand ID. That might help them move about a bit. Of course, this leaves us with only 4 reasons to leave the house. Those being shopping for essential things such as designer bags, takeaway coffees, and of course little cupcakes by the dozen. Exercise. These include sitting in the park in sweatpants until you notice someone coming, then doing a few sit-ups until they leave. Walking aimlessly and in increasingly longer trips. And the classic jogging, as you try to outrun your problems and hope the border security won't notice you as you zoom past like a suburban flash. Though group sizes are limited to 2, unless you're in a family unit, so be sure to take your children out with you at all times. Form a roving gang, in exercise pants of course, and use your numerical supremacy to run these streets. Although I do believe funerals may have up to 10 people, so if you see the cops coming and your group is a little too big, just murder the least popular friend and stage the funeral then and there. This would also cover you for the 3rd reason you may leave your house: medical care or caregiving. Your friend is now in urgent need of medical care and you must give them some. So a nice 2-for-1 there. The final reason, of course, being work or school. If you can't do it from home, your school or workplace should provide you with a written permission slip which you can wave obnoxiously around if you get stopped. Bearer of weird news, being the resourceful entity that we are, is actually selling permission slips to employees who are just so desperate to leave the house that they would risk death, infection, and the lives of others. For a mere $20 a piece, you can be an official employee on their way to work. Or, for $40, we can customize a slip to your needs. But of course, life continues under COVID-19. I mean, it is mostly reminiscent of Jimmy Stewart in Rear Window, but it is life. And though the New South Wales and Victoria border has closed, businesses still need to cross over and get work done. And those of you who have pressing business in Plague Town, formerly Victoria, you can apply for a border crossing permit. Oh wait, no, you know what, never mind. The Vic New South Wales border permit website crashed 45 minutes after opening. No doubt it was some sort of cyber hacking attack. Just like when the Centrelink site crashed, the same day thousands of people needed to access it. Shame we never had a chance to install some sort of high-functioning national broadband network of some kind. Might really have saved us all at a time like this. Seems, however, this border pass is the hottest ticket in town, and I suspect, with live events down, scalpers are jumping at the opportunity to exploit their fellow Australians. After all, JobKeeper doesn't cover scalpers, and why should it? They don't pay taxes after all. It's not like they're priests or anything. New South Wales has taken a hard line, suggesting building a wall between the states. But keeping the people safe is not cheap, and New South Wales has asked Victoria to help pay for border closure. I believe we have a clip.
Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
Anyone caught fleeing Plague Town will be met with turn-back orders, fines, and tisks of disapproval. Look, maybe even a stern calling them bloody idiots. We'll see how things go, and we'll see how our cases progress. Unless, of course, they are AFL players, in which case they will be smuggled over border lines because the rules never apply to AFL players. Currently, the Australian Defence Force is being put in place to halt border crossing, but we literally have a group in place for this very cause. Border Force. They are tasked with offshore and onshore border control enforcement. I don't want to hand them a slam dunk, but if they have to exist, it seems the logical use of their powers is this border control issue. But Morrison didn't even want the borders closed, so he wasn't going to sign off on that. Maybe if they arrived by boat? Oh no, wait. We did the plague people on a boat thing. That didn't work out so well. But cases continue to spike, and the friendly Melbourne-Sydney rivalry becomes increasingly real, with talks the border might be moved north of Albury as infections grow in Victoria. This is simply as a means of keeping all infections contained in Victoria. A cunning strategy, as from now on, all places that show infections will be reclassified as being part of Victoria. After all, as the PM says,
we're all Victorians now.
in order to help them blend in, citizens of Albury have been asked to adopt the traditional lingo and say potato cakes, and to vote Greens while they're under Vic borderlines. In the event that the border crossings do not halt, the Australian Defence Force will be put out of work, and like at hotels, we will move to a stronger, more effective force. We'll be bringing in our most effective antivirus staff yet, the flight attendants. If anybody wants to keep a distance from the people that they are serving, it is hospitality staff. With this new dynamic in place, we can expect the safety of staff and guests to remain intact and safely socially distant. We're going to have to start employing airline staff in more places though, as there has been a strange number of breaches of quarantine. Probably most famously, those guys ordering KFC for $20 at 1:30 in the morning, only to receive $26,000 in fines. I mean, it's a huge commitment to chicken, and if I know anything about eating fast food while drunk, they have learned nothing. They are out there still proudly telling the cops,
"Shut up and take my money."
Seems food will be a lot of people's downfall, as thousands of people fell for the Krispy Kreme siren call for free donuts. I mean, I've never seen a more obvious sting operation since that time that the police claimed that they were handing out free hampers. Oh, breaking news now, guys, breaking news. Speaking of food, Australians just can't resist food that they haven't cooked themselves, and the border wars will continue to heat up as both Darwin and Hobart pitch to be the new capital city after the ACT was forced to be reclassified as Victoria after cases broke out in the capital. After this shock announcement, the Northern Territory get to make this battle because they are going to be the first places to reintroduce the Bunnings sausage sizzle. And we all know sausage sizzles are just the beginning.